What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the Hero Report and welcome back to a brand new video on this channel where we talk all things Heat basketball. In today's video, we're going to be doing something that was actually inspired by one of the fans of the channel. Shout out to Jania Ernest for asking this question or suggesting this video idea. That was inspired by them. So shout out to them. Shout out to you. You know who you are. I'm putting your question on the screen. Guys, please, if you guys have any video suggestions, please leave it in the comment section so I can look at them. And more often than not, I will probably consider doing your video idea. So make sure you guys use that comment section as fast as you guys can and as much as you guys can. So Jania Ernest, this is your video suggestion. You should do top cheap free agents that will be a great fit for the Miami Heat. And I replied, stay tuned for the video. Well, the video is here. We're going to be doing top cheap free agents that will be a great fit for the Heat. Now, how I determine cheap free agents, I kind of estimated what they would get in this market, and anything that was 10 billion or under per year I class as a cheap free agent. So this is just my estimation. Some of these guys might get more than 10 million a year. I don't know exactly what their value is worth, but this is just my estimation based on their productivity during the season. So before we get into it though, make sure y'all drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below. We are very close to 1K. Let's get to 1K as soon as possible, man. You guys can do it. I'm confident in you guys. So I appreciate the love and support. Let's get to 1K as soon as possible. Like I said, use that comment section as frequently as possible as well. Now I did have some honorable mentions that I did want to share. I use the same format that I did with my other free agent video, where I did 2 per position. So I have 10 total cheap free agents that the Heat should consider, in my opinion. But I did have some honorable mentions, including names like Justice Winslow, shout out, Ish Smith, Solomon Hill, shout out, Patrick Patterson, and more. So hopefully you guys enjoy the list that I actually created. Let me know down in the comment section if you think I missed someone. Like I said, guys, this is my estimation of what I think these guys are going to be making. I don't think any of these guys are going to get more than 10 million per year. So this is just my estimation, and it's my opinion. So let's get into it. Point guards. My first point guard that I have as a cheap free agent option for the Miami Heat is none other than the Olympic killer himself, Paddy Mills. Shout out to Paddy Mills, man. He's been killing with Team Australia ever since he's been playing with them, and I think he is a great backup point guard for the Heat to consider. Like I said, since these guys I don't think these guys are going to be making more than 10 million a year. They're probably not going to be starting options. Majority of them are going to be guys that we can use to plug off the bench or plug in specific situations that we need them in. Paddy Mills has always been a guy that you can give the ball to, and he's a very good guy, especially off your bench, to be a sixth man shot creator, very high IQ player. He can shoot the three. He's a veteran. He's a win now player. I think Paddy Mills would be a great fit for the Miami Heat. So Paddy Mills is the number one point guard that I have targeted as a cheap option for the Heat. Obviously, we're looking at a lot more, expensive point guards like Colin Sexton, Kyle Lowry, even Damian Lillard rumors have, surfaced, but he himself said that was not true. Guys like that, I would expect the Miami Heat to be linked to, but like I said, cheap free agents, Paddy Mills, you cannot go wrong with him. He's making he was making 12 million a year, but I think with his age, since he's going up to 34, I think he might decrease that to about 10, 9. Because I think he doesn't, his money is not his, main priority right now, because he had been making 12 million a year for the past how many ever years. So Paddy Mills is number 1 on the point guard list. My number 2 point guard is Chris Dunn. Now I had a lot of options, like Alex Caruso was also considered. The reason I chose Chris Dunn was that he had a player option of 5 million. I did think that he was going to decline it, because I think Alex Caruso was a guy that I considered for this, but I really felt strongly that the Lakers might try to bring Alex Caruso back. LeBron is, I think LeBron has a very good relationship with Caruso. So I chose Chris Dunn. I think Chris Dunn will decline the $5 million player option. He is not, he hasn't hit his 30s yet. He's only 27. So I think he's going to be wanting to make a little bit more money. And number 2, he's not really going to be playing as much with Trae Young and Lou Williams. He wasn't really into rotation. Granted, a lot of that was due to injury, but even still, I think their point guard rotation is pretty deep over there. So I think Chris Dunn would be a great backup point guard for us. He's a guy that I picked because, you know, of his defensive intensity. Like I said, I picked 2 for each position, and I wanted the 2 to be different players. I don't want to pick 2 scorers as point guards. I wanted to pick guys who complement each other, so they're different options. Like Paddy Mills is a guy who's going to score the ball, and Chris Dunn's main attribute is defense. So if you want to go for a defender, Chris Dunn, Alex Caruso, someone like that, I think would be a good player to go after. But if you want to get a scorer, a guy like Paddy Mills, Ish Smith, people like that, I would suggest. So those are my 2 point guards. I've selected Paddy Mills and Chris Dunn. My shooting guards, my first one is actually a guy who played for the Heat once upon a time. Shout out to Wayne Ellington, the man with the golden arm. I strongly think that he's a guy that we should be thinking about bringing back to the Heat if Duncan Robinson or someone like that is gone. I think that shooting is the most coveted asset in today's league. I think he was sneaky, one of the best shooters in the league last year. Shot about 42% from 3. He still has it, man. He's a very good guy to bring into a team who can just shoot the ball flat out, shoot the lights out the ball. And there were other shooters, but I chose Wayne Ellington because he knows the offense. He knows the dribble handoff system. He knows what Spo likes to run for him. So it wouldn't take that long for him to get adjusted to the offense whatsoever because he's been playing with the Heat for a while now. Well, obviously he went to the Pistons and stuff, but he played with the Heat for about 3 years, a good 3 years probably. So yeah, I think that Wayne Ellington will get acclimated to things very quickly. So I think that he's a guy that we should consider, especially if Duncan Robinson is leaving or getting traded or something like that. Wayne Ellington is a cheap guy that we can try to get. The second option is Terrence Davis. Now, Terrence Davis already, rumors have already come out from Terrence Davis's camp saying that he's going to be wanting somewhere around $9 million per year. I think Terrence Davis is very underrated, man. I'm a big fan of Terrence Davis's game, especially when he was playing with the Raptors. And then when he got traded to the Kings, I was very surprised that the Raptors traded him. I'm pretty sure it was probably to clear a roster spot, but it was still pretty puzzling to me. But Terrence Davis didn't really get the playing time with the Kings that he got with the Raptors. But I think a team could use Terrence Davis, man. I think he's a guy who can shoot the ball. He's a scorer. I think Terrence Davis is a guy who's who can score the ball. And I think that Terrence Davis, would be a sneaky good addition to this team if we were able to pull it off. So yeah, I would not be mad if we acquired Terrence Davis. He's not a terrible shooter. He shot 37% from 3, 44% from the field on 22 minutes per game. He was an 11-point per game scorer with the Kings. So yeah, I think that Terrence Davis would be a great player for us to acquire. He's very underrated, man. I'm a big fan of his game. So Terrence Davis and Wayne Ellington are my 2 shooting guards that I've selected. Moving on to the small forward position, number 1, I have Doug McDermott. Now, the Heat have already been linked to Doug McDermott before. And like I said, I think that Doug McDermott would be a great addition to the team, especially if Duncan Robinson is leaving. I think he is another guy I'm pretty sure he's played with Jimmy, so he has that relationship. And I'm pretty sure that Doug McDermott, I don't know off the top of my head what he shot from the 3-point line. I'm pretty sure it was like 38%, which is still respectable. It's very good actually, for a regular player. I think he could probably increase that to 40 if he's going to be a knockdown shooter for our team. I would love Doug McDermott on this team. Like I said, very similar to Wayne Ellington, where if Duncan Robinson is not on this team anymore, I would consider bringing in either Wayne Ellington or Doug McDermott to be a replacement guy who can shoot the ball. Maybe even both of them on very small deals. So Doug McDermott is the first small forward that I would consider. Second small forward, I have Tory Craig, currently playing for the Phoenix Suns. Might even get his first ring. Actually, he's gonna get his first ring no matter what, because he got traded from the Bucks, and the Bucks and the Suns are meeting in the finals. So he's gonna get his ring, but I think he's gonna leave. I don't really see him getting the opportunity with Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges taking another step, and yeah, I think Tory Craig will try to get some more money. He's not really on that much this year, so I think Tory Craig can make about $8 to $9 million per year, and I wouldn't mind if the Heat, acquired Tory Craig. He's a very good defender. He's a very, very good defender. I'm a big fan of Tory Craig's defense, especially with Denver. I thought he was a very good defender. I was actually very sad that Denver let him go, because I thought he was a big piece for them. But I think that Tory Craig could be a guy who can just be a 3-and-D player. He shot 37% from 3. And he's a good defender, so I like Tory Craig a lot, and I think he'd be a good addition to this team as a cheap free agent. Power forward position, we got 2 guys who are pretty different, but they are dogs. The number one guy is Markieff Morris, menace to society, whatever you want to call him. I think that he is the prototypical stretch forward to play alongside Bam if you want to start him there. I think he would probably be an upgrade over Ariza because I think that he's probably a better shooter than Ariza. The defense part you'd have to work on, but I think that Markieff Morris would be a nice guy to pair alongside Bam, or even to come off the bench as a stretch four. He's turned his game into a stretch four type player, and I think Markieff Morris would be a good addition to this team, no doubt. So Markieff Morris is my number one power forward simply because of his ability to stretch the floor. And number two, I have James Johnson. Shout out to JJ, man. Bringing him back to the Heat, I think would be perfect. I think he definitely has the grit, toughness, culture, whatever you want to call it. He's an athletic player. He's a very good defender. He can shoot the three ball. He can, his playmaking is very underrated, I think. He can finish at the rim. I think James Johnson would be perfect if we brought him back. So I would love James Johnson back on this team. I think we could do it for 10 million or under. I don't think it'll take much more to get James Johnson back to the Heat. So those are my two power forwards. And finally, moving on to the last position, which is the center position. I have two guys who you may think they might be making more than 10 million, but I don't see it in this market. My number one guy is Nerlens Noel. I think that Nerlens Noel would be an amazing backup center to bring to the Heat if Dwayne Dedmon is not here. He's an amazing rim protector. I'm pretty sure he was one of the league leaders in blocks or altering shots at the rim. He's a very good rim protector, very good paint defender, and I do think he's a lob threat offensively. So I love Nerlens Noel, but I think the Knicks might bring him back. That's the only concern that I have. And the number two is Mo Wagner. Like I said on previous videos, I used to be a big Michigan fan, and I did watch Mo Wagner a lot. And I think Mo Wagner is a very skilled player. He just dropped 28 with Germany recently, and I think that Mo Wagner just needs the opportunity and needs the right situation with him. He's a very skilled offensive player, man. And I think that whoever acquires Mo Wagner, whoever uses Mo Wagner, right, will get a nice big man. Whether he doesn't have to be a superstar, obviously, but he can just be a serviceable role player. And I think bringing in Mo Wagner would not be, a far-fetched idea whatsoever. Like I said, this is probably only if Dwayne Dedmon is gone, but because I don't see Dwayne Dedmon leaving. I think the Heat were really impressed by his play. So, yeah, those are my two centers. Well, like I said, I did have some honorable mentions, like I mentioned before. So that didn't make the cut. I didn't want to come here and have 20 free agents and bore you guys, but I think I did a pretty good job of selecting these dudes, off the top of my head. There was other guys at the center position like Frank Kaminsky, people like that, Robin Lopez, Serge Ibaka. But I do think that some of those guys like Serge Ibaka might be making more than 10 million. But I think guys like Frank Kaminsky, JaVale McGee, you still can't go wrong with any of them as well. Shout out to JaVale the GOAT for getting selected for Team USA, by the way. But yeah, those are my 10 cheap free agents that the Heat should sign. Like I said, once again, shout out to Genia Ernest for suggesting this video. And make sure you guys drop your video suggestions in the comment section down below, and I will highly consider doing your video ideas. So make sure you guys follow that process, like the video, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see y'all later. As always, let's get to 1K. Peace.